Welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I want to take you through on how you can create a header using the new exciting theme builder from Elementor. So when we head back here to the plugins I have installed, I have Elementor 3.0.12 and Elementor Pro 3.0.5. Now to create headers in Elementor you should definitely have Elementor Pro. And once we have it installed, activated, we are simply going to come over here to the Elementor templates theme builder. So under theme builder, we can simply just say add a new, or we can simply come over here to the header option, or we can simply now click over here on the call to action ribbon. So say try it now. And boom, here we come to the new interface of the theme builder. I'm currently using the dark mode on my computer, that's why it's in this kind of color. Now, since we want to create the header for our website, we are simply going to select the option for header. Or if you have already existing headers, you simply click over here on the headers and you will show all the existing header templates. Or in case you want to create a new header, you can simply just say add new under the header option, or simply clicking over here. And for the footer, the same, single post, single page, archives, and all this. So let's head back to the header option, and I can simply click over here to add a new header. Cool, here I am. Now since I already have Elementor Pro, I am availed with a couple of Pro options to create our very first header. By looking through here, you can simply select a header that you want to use or a template that you want to use, and you are good to go. So in this case, I can choose from my existing templates if you have already a header you created, or you can simply select from the blocks that are already provided by Elementor. So let me say maybe I want to try out this. I'll insert, and boom, there I go. I have my navigation, which is over here, and also the first section of the header. But in this case, I don't want to use the template provided by Elementor. I want to create our very first header from scratch. So I'm going to simply delete everything over here. So to start from scratch, I'm simply going to add a new section, and it's going to be a 2-column section. So it's going to be something like this. And there I go. I'm going to add my logo, my navigation menu, and that's all. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to click over here and I'll add a site logo icon. So I'll simply say icon site logo. So if you have already added in your theme the site logo or the logo, it will show up over here, but I haven't yet done that. So I can do it in two ways. I can simply come back to the general settings, come to appearance, I'll come to the customize option. Under the customizer, I can come over here to the header, site identity, and I can upload a logo for my website, a logo. But in this case, I don't want to use an image logo under my theme. So I'm simply going to exit the customizer. I come back here to my Elementor option. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to use an icon as my logo. So I'll use this, the square, I'll insert it, and I can make it to be stacked or framed or anything I want. So I want it to be stacked, something of that sort. I can come over here, I make changes to the color, I add the colors that I want to use. So I assume this is going to be my logo. Then the other thing I have to add is my navigation. So what I'm going to do is come over here, I'm going to add a menu or a navigation menu. That's it. But now for our navigation menu to show up, it should echo to the menus that we have created on our website. So how do we do that? How do we create a menu? Come back to your dashboard. Under appearance, we're going to go to menus, and in the menus option, we're going to create our main menu, and we want it to be our primary menu. We create the menu, and now we're going to add items to this menu. So how do we add those items? They're over here. For example, the pages, we can add custom links and even categories. So these are pages that you've already created on your WordPress website. You simply select the pages and you add them to your menu. You can rearrange them. So shop comes next, and cart is going to be under account, and I have my checkout over here. So that's it. So I can simply just say save the menu. Now I've saved the menu for my website. I'm going to come back here to my Elementor dashboard, and I'm simply just going to first of all save this as a draft, and I'm going to reload. Cool. Now still in the Elementor theme builder, automatically our navigation widget has echoed up our main menu, which is this over here. In case you have several menus, when you click over here, they will show up. Now the layout is horizontal on the desktop version. So, and I want it to be aligned on the right, to be at the very end. And then I'm going to make changes to how this looks like, the hover, the pointer, and the drop-down icons or drop-down menu. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to come over here to style, and under style I'm going to come down here to typography, and I'm going to choose the typeface I want to use. I want to use Poppins. Shows up over here, and then I am going to come and under the pointer option I'm going to remove the pointer for all the devices. So I'm going to make it 0 to make it having no pointer, and the horizontal padding, I can increase how padded my items are. And for the vertical padding, it helps to pad your menu vertically. So I'll just leave it at 25 also. The spacing between the menu items, you can just make it to be at 10. If you have more menu items, of course, you'll just need to reduce on the spacing in between. So I'll make it 5. So for the drop down, what happens on the drop down? The text color, the hover color, and the active color. So when I look over here, we want that the drop down text color is going to be our other color. I'll just grab my hover color, come over here to the text color. So this is the color now, but on hover it can be a different color. And for the background, I'm going to make it to be just a transparent version. So that's a little bit too much. So something like that. And on hover, what happens? On hover, it's going to turn white. So I'm going to make this to be white, and I make the background color to be dark, something like that. And then for the typography, of course, it's going to be Poppins, so we don't want it to be Roboto. So Poppins shows up over there. So we have our Poppins, and we can of course increase a little bit on the font size. So we can make all our menu items to have the same font size and font weight. So I'm going to make this to be a 12. That looks small. 15. Yes, a 15. So 15, 500. I come back here to the normal typography, 15, 500. Okay, which looks pretty fine. Now we are going to also do the same hover. So for the active, we are going to simply make the text color in our red, and we're not going to add a background color, so there will not be a background color. And typography is going to be the same typeface. Now when we go down to, that is after the drop down, there is something called the toggle button, so we are going to look into that a little bit later. Now let's come back to our main menu. So on normal, the text color is dark, but we want to change it to our red, and on hover it changes to green. So let me say normal is this, and on hover I am going to change it to a different color, or I can simply just make it a little bit transparent of the same color on hover, something like that. Okay, then there's no pointer, and even on active there is no pointer, and on active it's basically going to be our dark color, and there is no pointer also. So that's it. Now let's look at how this looks like. So I'm going to say preview. So what now we're going to do is a little bit reduce on the size of our logo, and we make sure that also this menu is a little bit extended further. So we're going to come over here, select our icon, we're going to align it to the left, and we're going to come to style, and we're going to reduce the size. Let's make it 30. Padding can be a little bit, maybe 15 is enough. If you want to add some, maybe just to make it a little bit unique, you can rotate it. on hover on our logo shows up in the same color but a little bit transparent, just to show that it has been hovered on, something of that sort. Next, what we are going to do, let's look into the responsive settings. How does this look like on the tablet? Tablet is dropping, so we're going to come select our menu item. We're going to come to content, and breakpoint on mobile, we don't want it to break on tablet, so we want it to only break on the mobile, so we still show up this. And looks like we need to add some little padding on our logo, so we are going to look into that. So for our logo, we come over here to advanced. On padding, I'm going to unlink, and I'm going to add some little bit of padding on the left, so it's going to be let me say like 5 or actually 10 pixels, so something of that sort. Then I'm going now to look at this same logo on the mobile and how our navigation looks like. On the mobile it looks fine, so I'm now going to select this column and we're going to make it to take up just like, you know, a 30%, and we make this other column for our navigation to take up the rest 70. We're going to make sure that everything in this column is actually vertically aligned to the middle, and now we can do a little bit of styling of our drop down. So select the widget and we come to style and the toggle button, and we're not going to give it a border width and no border radius too, and we're going to make that the background is having our color and the actual color of the hamburger is going to be white. And we can increase also a little bit on the size of this to make it like 30. Okay, so or we can even reduce a little bit not to compete with the logo that is on the background. So let me say something of that sort. So we want to make sure that our hamburger icon or the menu icon actually is aligned on the right hand side, and then we want that the menu is dropping down into the canvas. So I'll select the widget for our menu, then I'll simply just scroll down below here under the section for the toggle align, so it's going to be on the right over there. When I click over here, my menu shows up perfectly well. I can also add some padding vertically and horizontally. So what I do is simply come to style, and I'm simply going to scroll down and I come under the drop down. So under the drop down, I have the options to choose between the horizontal padding, the vertical padding, and also the distance from the toggle icon up there. So I can just make it just to be sitting exactly under that icon, and pick the vertical padding, I'll make it to be 12, and the horizontal padding, maybe just make it a 45. That's it. And then for the toggle button, we can increase or decrease the size. So I'll just make it maybe a 30 is enough, and we don't want any border and we don't need any border radius, so it will just have 0 border radius. Okay, now this looks a little bit neat, but then maybe we want to reduce a little bit on our logo on the mobile so that it's kind of the same size with our toggle button, or I can just leave it the way it is. So I'm now going to go on the tablet and I'm going to go on the desktop. So that's how our menu looks like. We can also add some more items at the top over here, for example like the address, location, and the phone number. So I can simply just add a new section, and it's going to have 3 columns, and this section is going to have an icon and some text. So we are going to say we can have an icon list, something like this, or icon box. I don't know which one will work best. So here I can just grab, let me say telephone or phone, So maybe this over here, we want it to have the default, and then we don't need the text over here, and I can just say enter in the number over here. People can always call 0800 whatever number, and I can position the icon to be on the left. The HTML tag can just be a paragraph, and we can come over here to the style, and we can now style our icon. We can reduce the spacing, but let's work on the size of this icon, and we either want to rotate it, or we can just give it that kind of size, and the spacing between the icon and the phone number. We don't have any content, so under the content section we can choose to add some spacing between the first section and this other content, and so we don't need any space. But for the title typography, we want it to be in Poppins, and that's all. So we can now add our color. So our color for our title is going to be just some gray, something like that. The vertical alignment should be in the middle, because we don't want to appear like it's at the top of the section of the widget. So we go back to our icon. We're going to give it a similar color, so something like that. I'm going to reduce it a little bit further, and also the space we're going to reduce a little bit further, and come back to the content. I'll also reduce the size of the text to be visible but a little bit small. Maybe a 12 works best. Okay, this looks fine. Now I'm going to simply just copy, paste, and reuse the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this. I'll paste in this other section, and here I'll type, maybe just use the address or map icon, so something like this. And then I'll just say 116. Maybe that's the address. I can come over here to the style, and I'll rotate my icon to just be at 0. The rest look fine. I'll come back to this other section, and then or column, and then I'll paste. Here I'll have the box address or the mailing address. So I'll have my envelope, insert my envelope, come to the style. I'm going to change the rotation to be at 0, and here I'm going to enter in the content. It's going to simply be care@globalstudies.com. Maybe that is the email, and that's all. So now what we are going to do a little bit, we are going to add an inner section over here, and that inner section is going to kind of hold everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all add a new column, and that column I'm going to grab an inner section, this like this, and I'm going to make sure that we have 3 columns in that inner section by adding a new column. Then I'm going to drag this first widget, and then I'll delete that column where it was, and then I will also drag this other into the other column. I'll increase a little bit, then I'll drag this other into the other column. Now I'll delete this other column. Now we'll have 2 main columns. Okay, so I'm going to interchange these columns to have the address, phone number, and then the email. Yeah, this looks a bit fine, or I can just rearrange and I have them like this. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole column, and I'm going to remove everything to do the padding. Let me first grab my navigator, and I'm going to select the whole section, come to style, and I'm going to give it a very small tint, so of black. So it's going to be our color, and make it very small. something of that sort. So I'll now preview and see how this looks like. This looks fine and neat. So I'm going to come back to the editor. I'm going to come over here to tablet. So I'm going to select the whole section, come to advanced, responsive, and then I'll say hide on tablet. The same I'll do to hide on mobile. In a nutshell, that's how you can create your header using the Elementor theme builder. Looking fine on the desktop and on tablet, only choosing what you want to be shown on tablet. On hover, the logo kind of, becomes a little bit dull or fades out. And on mobile, you only show your logo and also the navigation or the navigation menu, and you hide all the other things that you don't want to appear. Here they look a little bit disorganized, but we can also work on them. So for example, if we select our section and come to responsive, we first unhide them. Okay, let me make it 35 and 35, 30, and this to be also 35 or even a 40. So 35 is okay. So there we have our top navigation on tablet. We can also work out the same on mobile. So I can just come over here to this other widget, copy, and then I'm going to paste the style. And you see now we have the same styling for these icons. So now on tablet looks fine, desktop looks fine, but remember we don't want this section to appear on both devices. Come back on both devices, we simply select a section, come to advanced, go to responsive, and we hide them all. And when we go to mobile, they are all hidden. We go to tablet, they are all hidden. And desktop. So in a nutshell, that's how you can create your header using the new Elementor theme builder. So our header was completely done with our homepage, shop, account page, and checkout page. But we are missing something on our logo. We want that when someone clicks over here on our logo, they can simply go back to the home page. So how do we do that since this is not a site icon? So to do that, we're going to come back here to our header in the theme builder. So we will click on edit theme builder or edit the header. And now we'll come to our icon and we'll add a link. And this link should be heading to the home page. And also don't forget to set your home page under reading settings. So over here, home page settings, make sure that your home page is actually your home page. Save changes. And now when we come back here to our site on preview, when I hover over my icon over here, it will simply just take me back. Or when I click over here on my icon, it will simply just take me back to my home page. Now to exit this header, you can simply update, add a condition, and you display your header on the entire site. Simply save and close. Cool, now that means that our header will be visible on the entire site or on the whole of our website. I can now simply just click over here and go back to the theme builder. This now will take me to the next section of our website whereby we will be creating a footer. So check out the next video on how to create a footer using the new Elementor theme builder. See you there. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe because that actually helps me out. Have a good time and goodbye.